Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something I think a lot of us have seen or felt. It's this holiday paradox.
Hmm.
How does this season of, maximum joy and connection, how does it become this source of just overwhelming speed, especially for the aging adults we love?
It's such an essential conversation to have because we see the behavior, the withdrawal, the irritation maybe, and we mistake it for something else. We think it's disinterest.
Right, that they don't want to be there.
Exactly. When it's really a reaction to the environment. I mean, think about the example of Mr. Alvarez from our notes. This was a guy who was always the life of the party, loved the chaos, the family noise.
Okay.
And now he just sits quietly and he tells his family, I love seeing everyone, but it's all happening so fast.
Happening so fast. That phrase right there, that's it.
That's the core of it. The holidays are built on speed, on transitions, on, frankly, sensory overload. And for an aging brain, that joyful environment can instantly become a behavioral trigger.
So this is a total reframe then. It's not a rejection of the joy, it's an inability to process the pace of that joy.
Precisely.
Okay, so for you, listening to this, the learner, this deep dive is going to be your shortcut. We're going to get into the why behind that withdrawal, but more importantly, give you a really practical toolkit.
Actionable strategies.
Yeah, we're going to show you how to adjust the pace so your loved one can actually keep the joy just without all that overwhelm. So let's unpack this. Why does the world suddenly feel like it's in fast forward? What is actually happening cognitively as we get older?
Well, the central mechanism at play here is a decline in cognitive processing speed.
Okay.
Think of the brain as this incredibly complex computer network. As we age, the circuits, they just slow down a little, so tasks that used to be automatic.
Like what?
Oh, anything. Putting on a coat, following a conversation with 3 people talking, even just, navigating a crowded room, those things now require a huge amount of cognitive effort to execute.
So if I'm getting this right, the brain can still do the task, but the energy, the mental effort it takes to get it done has just skyrocketed.
Precisely. And that's where you get this mismatch, especially during the holidays. The environment speeds up dramatically.
All the people, the music, the quick changes.
Exactly. The input speed's way up, but the brain's ability to process that input is slowing down. And when the input speed is faster than the processing capacity, the whole system, it just kind of locks up. And when that mismatch hits, there's a natural, almost instinctual behavioral response. It's like, pause, pull back.
Protect your peace.
Protect your peace. It's a survival skill. It is not stubbornness. It is not disinterest. It's the brain trying to regulate an unmanageable system by just cutting off the incoming data.
That reframes everything. So withdrawal isn't a choice. It's more like a neurological mandate.
It is.
So when they pull back to that quiet chair in the corner, the message they're really sending is, I just need the world to slow down for a second so I can catch up.
Yes. Their brain is juggling all these cues. Who's talking to me? What am I supposed to do next? Is that a step down? Until it just hits capacity. And withdrawal is the result.
And I imagine that leads to some very specific signs, some behaviors that we should be watching for.
Oh, absolutely. These are the red flags that are flashing overloaded.
What's the first one?
Pay attention to timing. You'll see slower replies, a little delay before they answer a direct question. And watch for freezing during transitions.
Freezing.
Yeah, that moment where they just pause and maybe they'll say, hold on, give me a minute. That freeze is so critical. It's not them being resistant. It's the brain dedicating all of its available power to just orienting to the new situation. They're literally processing where they are and what they need to do next.
Right. And what about the social side of things, like a big family dinner?
Oh, that's a huge one. You'll notice, you'll see a real difficulty in following group conversations. They might look confused when 2 or 3 people are talking at once.
The cocktail party effect, right?
Yeah, exactly. The cocktail party effect.
Yeah.
That ability our brain has to filter out background noise. It slows way down with age. So as the room gets busier, they get quieter.
Why quieter?
Because just trying to speak takes energy that their brain is already using just to track what's happening around them.
So psychologically, what they're doing is a form of escape and avoidance.
Yeah.
But they're not avoiding the family.
No.
They're avoiding the pace, the unpredictability of it all.
You've got it. And the science really backs this up. There was a 2020 study in gerontology that gives us some key context here.
Good.
It found that these age-related declines in processing speed are tied to 2 main things. Sensory load, so how much is going on.
The noise, the lights.
Yes. And, this is the important part, environmental unpredictability. The problem isn't just the volume, it's the pace of information hitting the system. Fast, unexpected things happening are seen by the aging brain as unsafe, and that triggers that need to pull back and conserve energy.
That focus shift from just noise level to the pace of information, that's so vital for families to understand. And if speed is the problem, well, then slowing things down has to be the solution.
It is.
So let's get into the toolkit. The goal isn't to scale back the holidays, it's to adjust the rhythm. How do we restore that sense of predictability and safety?
Okay, so the sources point to 5 really critical strategies, and the first one is this: narrate transitions before they happen.
Okay, narrate, so you mean like giving a heads up?
Exactly. You're giving the brain a little heads up to restore that sense of safety instead of just, suddenly standing up and walking to the dining room.
Which can be really jarring.
It can be incredibly jarring. You just say very calmly, Dad, we're going to move to the dining room in about 2 minutes, or I'm going to put my coat on and then I'll help you with yours. You're preloading the information.
So their brain has time to create a little plan for what's coming next.
You got it. It reduces the shock when the movement actually happens.
That makes perfect sense. But I can hear someone thinking, won't that sound patronizing? How do you do that without making your loved one feel like a child?
That's a crucial point. It's all in the tone and keeping it brief. Use we statements. We're going to get ready to leave now. It makes it a shared activity. You're just sharing the schedule, which helps everyone, not, directing a dependent.
Okay, that's good. Strategy number 2 you have is reduce speed, not joy. This seems simple, but what's the hardest part of actually doing it?
The hardest part is slowing down your own movements, your own speech. As a family, especially when you're stressed during the holidays, the tendency is to speed up. We talk faster, maybe louder, trying to help.
Trying to compensate.
But that speed and volume, it just overloads their system even more. The real support is slowing your own cadence down, pausing between sentences, walking at their pace. You're reducing the number of cues their brain has to process every second.
Got it. Okay, what's next?
Next up is create quiet anchors during events. And I want to be clear, this is not banishment. It's not sending them to their room.
It's a safe space.
It's a designated, predictable place that's still physically present, but it's psychologically safe.
So what makes a good quiet anchor?
Minimal stimulation. A comfy chair by a window away from where everyone is walking. Maybe a spare room with a soft light on, and no loud music.
So it's a place to decompress.
Exactly. They can retreat there for just 5 minutes, reboot the system, and then maybe rejoin the activity. It's much better than them withdrawing completely to another floor, which makes it much harder to come back.
Okay, that's a great one. And let's talk about instructions. Getting ready, serving food, leaving, all those steps. What's the best way to do that without causing that cognitive strain?
This one is simple but powerful. Offer one instruction at a time. The second you string commands together, you're demanding a huge amount of working memory. So the ineffective way is, okay, we need to get your shoes and coat, then grab the gift and meet us out in the car.
That's a lot.
It's completely overwhelming. The effective way is one single step. Let's start with your shoes. You wait. Let them finish. Great job. Okay, now let's find your coat.
That strategy sounds brilliant on paper, but you know how families are. What happens when there are 4 other people, siblings, grandkids, all rushing around and barking out different orders?
That is the single most difficult hurdle. It really is. It means the primary caregiver has to become the designated pace regulator.
The pace car.
The pace car, I like that. So when you see a sibling rush in with the 3-step command, you have to gently intercept. You step in and say, hey, hold on, let's just help mom with your sweater first, okay? It requires some quiet redirection of the rest of the family.
That's a big job.
It is. And the last strategy ties into this. You have to reinforce participation, acknowledge the successes, even the small ones.
Why is that positive reinforcement so important?
Because the brain learns through association. If every time they navigate a crowded room, it ends in frustration and feeling like they failed, the brain learns to avoid it. But if you say, you handled all that noise really well for the last half hour, or I know that was a lot and you stayed right with us, that was fantastic.
You're creating a positive memory.
You're creating a positive link between a challenge and a success. It builds their confidence and it makes them more willing to try again next time.
Let's shift a little bit to the communication side of things. We need to learn how to translate what they're saying.
Yes.
When a loved one says, in the middle of a party, I can't think, what are they actually telling us?
They are being literal. It's a report that their cognitive load has maxed out. They are not being vague. They are communicating that their processing speed has failed and they cannot take in one more piece of new information.
And what about the irritation? You see that flash of temper, especially when people are talking over each other. It can look like a personality change.
But it's a stress signal, absolutely. That irritation is a direct stress response to the difficulty of filtering. Overlapping voices demand immense brain power to sort out a function that's slowing down. So what used to feel lively now just feels chaotic and exhausting, and that stress comes out as irritation.
So we've talked about sound. What about visuals? Can the decorations themselves, all the clutter and blinking lights, can that trigger overwhelm too?
Oh, they absolutely can. Blinking lights, bold, clashing colors, just general holiday clutter. It all creates intense visual noise
So the brain has to work to filter that out too.
constantly. It leads to something called sensory fatigue. A really simple adjustment, like setting the tree lights to steady instead of blinking, or just tidying up some of the clutter into one spot, can really lower that cognitive workload.
Okay, so let's say a relative comes to visit and they don't understand these nuances. They ask why Uncle Joe is acting so differently. What's a short, simple explanation?
You can't give them a lecture on neuroscience. Keep it simple and empathetic. Just say, he processes things a little more slowly now. We're just helping by slowing the pace around him. And then you can add, if you want to help, the best thing is to just talk to him one-on-one and speak a little slower.
That's so compassionate and clear. And one last practical tip. You see the signs of overwhelm starting. The shoulders tightening, they're getting quiet, and you need to get them out of there gracefully. What's the book's technique?
Use what we call paired movement. This is so much better than putting them on the spot by asking, do you want to leave? Which draws attention.
Okay, so what is paired movement?
You create a shared reason to exit. You lean in and say, walk with me for a second. I want to show you the snow out the back door. Or, hey, can you help me grab a drink from the kitchen? You gently lead them to a quieter space without a big explanation or any embarrassment. It lets their system reset immediately.
So when we put all this together, what our deep dive really reveals is that when an aging adult withdraws during a celebration, they're not rejecting the family, they're not rejecting the joy,
Not at all.
they're trying desperately to keep up with the pace of that joy. And by using these strategies, slowing down, narrating, creating those anchors, we're actually creating access for them. We're building confidence, not dependence.
That's the perfect summary. And if you listening take just one thing away today, one immediate action, make it the power of gentle narration. It is the quickest way to restore predictability and calm. Just narrate the next move before it happens. Give the brain a head start, always.
And here is a final thought for you, our listener, to consider. We all know that feeling, right? The mental exhaustion, that sort of sensory hangover after a huge holiday get-together.
Definitely.
So if even younger adults need that recovery time after a high-stimulus day, how might we fundamentally rethink the entire rhythm of these events for our aging loved ones? Maybe scheduling predictable, quiet recovery time isn't just a nice idea. Maybe it should be just as important to the holiday plan as the meal itself.